When selecting ceiling boxes for plaster and wire mesh ceilings, particularly in older commercial buildings with I-beam supports, several options are available. The specific choice depends on the type of fixture, its weight, and the desired aesthetic. Firstly, a recessed box with a plaster ring is a good option. This type of box is installed flush within the ceiling. A plaster ring creates a secure mounting surface, making it suitable for both pendant lights and surface-mounted fixtures. Secondly, a surface mount box with a plaster cover provides another solution. This box is secured directly to the ceiling, often using screws or nails. The plaster cover conceals the box, offering a smooth, finished appearance. These are best for surface-mounted fixtures needing a flush fit. Thirdly, for plaster ceilings lacking a backer board, a toggle bolt box is effective. Toggle bolts expand behind the ceiling, providing a secure hold. This is ideal for pendants or fixtures needing a hanging point where direct structural support is limited. Fourthly, a flanged box with plaster ears can be used. This type features a metal flange attaching to the ceiling, with plaster ears providing additional support. It's suitable for heavier fixtures or those needing a wider mounting base. When dealing with I-beam supports, several considerations are important to ensure a safe and compliant installation. Spacers are important. Ensure there's at least 2 inches of clearance between the I-beam and the ceiling box. This space accommodates wiring and prevents it from being pinched or damaged. Locking is also important. Install 2x4 blocking between the I-beams to give extra support to the ceiling boxes. This is particularly crucial for heavier fixtures or when the existing ceiling structure is weak. Lag bolts are needed. Use lag bolts to securely fasten the boxes to the blocking or directly to the I-beams. This ensures the boxes are firmly attached and can support the weight of the fixtures. Additional tips to consider are: firstly, always verify the weight load capacity of the ceiling boxes. Make sure they can adequately support the weight of the fixtures being installed. Secondly, use grounding screws or straps to establish proper electrical grounding. This is a critical safety measure to prevent electrical shock. Thirdly, it's highly advisable to hire a licensed electrician for the installation. They can ensure the work is done safely and in compliance with local electrical codes. Considering the National Electrical Code, several articles and sections are relevant to this type of installation. NEC Section 314.27 addresses outlet boxes, conduit bodies, and fittings to be used as a box or fitting. This section provides requirements for the support of ceiling fans and other suspended equipment. NEC Section 314.20 covers the mounting of boxes and conduit bodies. It specifies that boxes must be securely fastened in place. When using metal boxes, ensure they are properly grounded according to NEC Section 250.146, which covers wiring to a metal enclosure. For the selection and installation of appropriate cable and conductors, refer to NEC Chapter 3, specifically Articles 310 and 334. These articles provide guidelines for conductor sizing, ampacity, and cable types suitable for the installation. When working with older buildings, it's essential to identify any existing wiring and ensure it meets current safety standards. If the existing wiring is outdated or damaged, it should be replaced by a qualified electrician. When installing ceiling boxes in plaster and wire mesh ceilings, it's important to minimize damage to the existing ceiling. Use appropriate tools and techniques to create clean and precise openings for the boxes. Patch any gaps or cracks around the boxes with plaster or joint compound to maintain the integrity of the ceiling. Consider using vibration dampening materials between the boxes and the ceiling structure. This reduces the transmission of noise and vibration from the fixtures to the building structure. Properly label all wiring and connections within the ceiling boxes. This helps with future maintenance and troubleshooting. When working with electrical systems, always prioritize safety. To energize the circuit before starting any work and use appropriate personal protective equipment, including safety glasses and gloves. To elaborate on the selection of ceiling boxes, consider the following factors. For recessed boxes with plaster rings, the size and shape of the ring should match the size and shape of the fixture being installed. This ensures a seamless transition between the fixture and the ceiling. The depth of the box should also be sufficient to accommodate the wiring and connections. For surface mount boxes with plaster covers, select a cover that matches the color and texture of the existing ceiling. This helps the box blend in with the surrounding surface. The box should also be large enough to accommodate the wiring and connections. Toggleable boxes are available in various sizes and weight capacities. Choose a box that is appropriate for the weight of the fixture being installed. Make sure the toggle bolts are long enough to extend through the ceiling and expand behind it. Flanged boxes with plaster ears are typically used for heavier fixtures or fixtures that require a wider mounting base. The flange should be securely attached to the ceiling, and the plaster ears should provide additional support. Ensure the box is properly aligned with the ceiling surface to prevent any gaps or cracks. Regarding I-beam support, consider the following details. When using spacers, make sure they are made of a non-conductive material. This prevents any electrical contact between the I-beam and the ceiling box. The spacers should be securely attached to the I-beam and the ceiling box. When installing blocking between the I-beams, use wood that is dry and free of defects. The blocking should be securely fastened to the I-beams using lag bolts or screws. Ensure the blocking is flush with the bottom of the I-beams to provide a level surface for the ceiling boxes. When using lag bolts to fasten the boxes to the blocking or I-beams, select bolts that are long enough to penetrate the wood or metal to a sufficient depth. Use washers under the bolt heads to distribute the pressure and prevent the bolts from pulling through the material. Remember to consult the local building codes and electrical codes for specific requirements related to ceiling box installations. These codes may vary depending on the location and the type of building. Always obtain the necessary permits before starting any electrical work. This ensures the work is inspected and meets the required safety standards. When working with plaster and wire mesh ceilings, be aware of the potential for asbestos exposure. Older buildings may contain asbestos-containing materials. If you suspect asbestos is present, have the materials tested by a qualified professional before disturbing them. If asbestos is present, follow all applicable regulations and guidelines for handling and disposal. Consider using dust control measures to minimize the spread of dust and debris during the installation process. This can include using a vacuum cleaner with a HEPA filter, sealing off the work area with plastic sheeting, and wearing a respirator. When running wiring through the ceiling, use appropriate cable supports to prevent the cables from sagging or rubbing against the ceiling structure. This helps to prevent damage to the cables and ensures they are properly supported. Use cable ties or straps to bundle the wires together and keep them organized. This makes it easier to trace and identify the wires in the future. When making electrical connections within the ceiling boxes, use wire connectors that are appropriate for the size and type of wire being used. Make sure the connections are tight and secure to prevent loose wires or short circuits. Test the connections with a multimeter to verify they are properly wired and grounded. After the installation is complete, inspect the ceiling boxes and fixtures to ensure they are properly installed and functioning correctly. Check for any loose connections, exposed wires, or other potential hazards. If you find any problems, correct them immediately. Document the installation, including the type of ceiling boxes used, the wiring connections, and the locations of the fixtures. This documentation can be helpful for future maintenance and troubleshooting. It is also important to maintain a clean and organized work area. This helps to prevent accidents and ensures the work is done efficiently. Dispose of any waste materials properly and clean up any dust or debris. When working with electrical systems, it is essential to follow all safety precautions and guidelines. This helps to protect yourself and others from electrical shock and other hazards. If you are not comfortable working with electrical systems, it is best to hire a qualified electrician to perform the work. Remember, electrical work can be dangerous if not done properly. By following these guidelines and tips, you can safely and effectively install ceiling boxes in plaster and wire mesh ceilings. Always prioritize safety and consult with a qualified electrician if you have any questions or concerns. The goal is to provide a safe and reliable electrical system for the building and its occupant. Consider the long-term maintenance and accessibility of the ceiling boxes and fixtures. Choose locations that are easily accessible for future repairs or replacements. Provide access panels or hatches if necessary to allow access to the wiring and connections. Ensure the fixtures are properly ventilated to prevent overheating. This can be particularly important for recessed fixtures that generate heat. Use energy-efficient light bulbs to reduce energy consumption and prolong the life of the fixtures. LED bulbs are a good option as they are energy-efficient, long-lasting, and produce little heat. Consider using dimmers to control the brightness of the lights. This can help to save energy and create a more comfortable ambience. When selecting dimmers, choose models that are compatible with the type of light bulbs being used. Before commencing work, perform a thorough site assessment. Identify any potential hazards, such as asbestos-containing materials, existing wiring, or structural issues. Develop a plan for addressing these hazards and ensure all necessary safety precautions are in place. Communicate with building occupants or managers to inform them of the work being performed and any potential disruptions. Schedule the work to minimize any inconvenience to occupants. When working in older buildings, be prepared for unexpected challenges such as hidden wiring, damaged plaster, or deteriorated structural elements. Have a contingency plan in place for addressing these challenges and ensure you have the necessary tools and materials on hand. Consider using non-invasive methods for locating wiring and structural elements. This can help to minimize damage to the existing building. Use a stud finder or electrical wire tracer to locate wiring and framing members before drilling or cutting into the ceiling. When working with plaster and wire mesh ceilings, be careful not to damage the surrounding plaster. Use sharp tools and gentle techniques to create clean and precise openings for the ceiling boxes. Avoid using excessive force, which can cause the plaster to crack or crumble. Patch any small cracks or holes in the plaster with joint compound. Apply the compound in thin layers and allow it to dry completely before sanding smooth. Prime and paint the patched areas to match the surrounding ceiling. Consider using decorative ceiling medallions to enhance the appearance of the fixtures. Medallions can add a touch of elegance and style to the ceiling. Choose medallions that are appropriate for the size and style of the fixtures. When installing pendant lights, make sure the suspension cables or chains are long enough to hang the lights at the desired height. Adjust the length of the cables or chains to ensure the lights are level and properly aligned. Use appropriate hardware for attaching the pendant lights to the ceiling boxes. Ensure the hardware is strong enough to support the weight of the lights. When installing surface mount fixtures, make sure the fixtures are securely attached to the ceiling. Use screws or anchors that are appropriate for the type of ceiling material. Ensure the fixtures are flush with the ceiling surface to prevent any gaps or cracks. When selecting light bulbs, consider the color temperature of the light. Warm light 2700 Kelvin to 3000 Kelvin creates a cozy and inviting atmosphere, while cool light 4000 Kelvin to 5000 Kelvin provides a brighter and more energizing light. Choose a color temperature that is appropriate for the intended use of the space. Consider using smart lighting systems to control the lights remotely. Smart lighting systems allow you to turn the lights on and off, dim the lights, and change the color temperature using a smartphone or other device. These systems can also be programmed to automatically turn the lights on and off at certain times of day. Always test the lighting system thoroughly after the installation is complete. Verify that all the lights are working properly and that the dimmers and other controls are functioning correctly. Check for any flickering or buzzing sounds, which could indicate a problem with the wiring or the fixtures. Once again, consult with a licensed electrician if you have any questions or concerns about electrical safety or code compliance. A qualified electrician can ensure the work is done safely and according to code.